guys, I'm Grace.
And I'm Lucy.
We're coming to you live from the studio on 83rd Ave, and you're listening to
Big
Picture
Podcast.
Today we are talking to
Madden. Welcome, Madden. How's it going?
Pretty darn well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks
for coming.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, every time I say darn, someone from Finland recently, and they were like, darn's a Canadian thing. I've never heard people say that, and every time it comes out, I'm like, stop it.
Stop. Put it back. Put it back.
I totally notice I say A all the time. I never knew I was an A person,
God.
but I
Lucy
definitely
says
am.
all the time.
I say it more like hey, right? But like no, it's
A.
It's
the same
yeah.
thing.
Anyway, I'm very well, I should say.
I'm darn well.
Very well.
Negative 40 outside anyway, so.
Oh, the way that the just weight I didn't even comprehend was sitting on my shoulders has lifted these past few days. There's like the impending doom of global warming that's like, you know, somewhere in the distance, but I'm just skipping through my melting snow.
2 degrees, January. Nice!
Changed overnight, no worries.
That's a wear winter jacket.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just skipping in my blissful ignorance. So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Madden, like, who are you?
Who am I? Oh, thankful that question doesn't send me into quite as an existential hole as it used to.
Doesn't it always
Yeah.
Asking it makes me nervous almost. Like, it's so broad.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess to sum it up, I'm a musician who's also a mom. That's a pretty big sum up of my life, I guess. And then maybe an artist. I have really bad imposter syndrome, so I don't know. I feel strange saying I'm an artist, but I guess that's what I do.
It's a little moral to get over sometimes, but you are. I saw your Instagram.
Yeah.
There's nothing but art all over there. The colors, the mastery of it.
Very much.
I love your photography, by the way. Yeah. And you have a son?
I do, yes.
No
He's
way.
2.5. His name's Malachi, and he's the absolute light of my life, and I'm grateful every single day for him. So
Malachi is such a cute name too. Oh my god.
I saw the video on your story of the
Death
death grips. He's headbanging to death grips. I'm like,
my
yeah.
God. It came on my shuffle one day, and the little dude just like started over, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? And then I started over, and he was in the back, and he loved it. And so I just kept playing it in the car because he kept wanting it over and over again. And then I was headbanging to it, and all of a sudden he started, and it was the first time I got him headbanging. So I was so excited. I was like, yes, little man, because he's already got the flow for it.
Yeah.
Oh
you know?
god, that's
so,
cute.
and his dad's a drummer, so it works out.
It is
Works out very well.
Started young. Exactly.
Truly. So, yeah, I'm very
so
grateful as well for the community of people I've had around me in raising a child, I should say, because I've definitely had the room to make a lot of mistakes that a lot of people necessarily haven't had because of the support around me. So as I acknowledge that, I want to just acknowledge my gratitude for all the people that love him and me and continue to support the both of us in order to grow. And so, yeah, I want to mention that too.
God, it's so beautiful.
It definitely does take a community.
Truly. And yeah, my son, he's like a little genius. He knows more than I do. He talks more than I do. Like, he has memorized every single book he owns. Like, it's crazy, the little man's capability. So I really just see how positively it has impacted having a community around.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Have a community raise a kid. That's really the only way.
Exactly. So yeah, I need to be grateful for that too, because I know I'm probably going to talk about some other topics around this podcast that seem attached to me being a mother, like from a surface level, as if it's something that opens door for judgment. But I want to be, just aware that I'm grateful, and I've had room to make mistakes, and it's never impacted him, thank God. So. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Good to hear it. And where are you from?
Yeah, good question.
Oh my gosh, it actually might come out sometimes. I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Newfoundland.
Oh, that's the super Canadian accent in you, the darn and
Yeah.
everything.
Maybe every now and then it'll come out. And then I lived in Fort Mac for a few years, and then the fires happened. And after the fires, that's when we moved down to Edmonton. So I've been here since high school.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Long since, but you're
welcome.
Thank you. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So you guys got caught up in the Fort Mac fires and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Did it devastate your family?
My family, it was a strange spot. A lot of our belongings were too toxic and smoke damaged, but our house was physically still there, so we lost a lot, and like our whole house had to be redone, so it was like different walls and different sidings, and it was really weird. It was like we walked back and it was a ghost of what was, but I didn't lose my house or anything. But we were definitely impacted, and the day it happened, my parents were out of town, so my junior high band teacher, who's like my bestie, and we still talk like every single day, she was actually the one who drove me out of town and like went and picked up all my animals, and it was like her and my junior high principal and like my 5 animals in the car, like driving out of Fort Mac through the raging flames, like
Holy shit, that's lucky.
Yeah, so it feels like a little glimpse looking back now, kind of like, oh, haha. But yeah, I guess at the time that was a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
But yeah,
I couldn't believe it myself when it went on.
grateful now to be where we're at. Grateful for that junior high band teacher too. Cause
Seriously, yeah.
yeah, she was like my saving grace, just driving me out of that. It was like literally the apocalypse, just raining like lava down all the trees and like flames slowly growing as we were driving, and just them looking back being like, we'll get you out, it's gonna be okay. And I was just like, the police wouldn't let me get my puffer out of our school, and they made us evacuate, so I was in the backseat of the car like dying, and they were like, it's okay, just keep breathing, kiddo. And I was like, okay.
Oh my god, that's traumatic. Oh my god.
Now we're here in Edmonton.
Yeah.
I've made the treacherous journey, found my nice little haven within whatever this is. I
Good question.
So that's where I'm from, I guess. But that junior high band teacher is actually who introduced me to, I didn't have any friends in junior high, and I struggled a lot, like in a social regard, and so I spent every single lunch in her band room, and I would ditch math class every single day to go hang out in her band room, and I would spend, she developed this thing called the after school club just so I could hang out at school for
That's
like,
so tight.
right? It was literally just me and her. Like one day we found a spare wheelchair and we were going around playing like wheelchair basketball with the recyclables. Another day we like were just folding a bunch of programs for a school event, and she knew something was going on in my life that I needed support, but I didn't know how to voice it. So she just kept this like safe place for me to go back, and every time I seemed like I was facing a new problem, she put a new instrument in my hand, or I was doing a new musical with her, or this and that. So she really like just built this solid foundation for me to have a healthy outlet no matter what I went through, and I credit her for like everything basically today. And she was really like my maternal role model, I guess.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
She's where I'm from too. So
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, that's beautiful. Sometimes those people really influence your art too, like
yeah.
even just the way you create or the way you take on projects. It's like
Truly.
they're always going to be in the back of your mind.
Truly, and how much like a educator who's passionate or actually cares about what they're doing can impact like a child's entire life. Like I'm just so
Yeah.
thankful for all those
It's absolutely
mentors I've
right.
had.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone out there who's a mentor, keep doing it. If you have
Shout
a
out
mentor,
to
say
you.
thank you.
Yeah. Seriously, it's so important, like
Truly.
the influence that a good teacher can have on your life forever.
Yeah, so I feel like that's why I'm a little musician now. She also introduced me to the musician who got me writing music. So,
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
What was that connection like?
When I moved away from Fort Mac, she always used to write to every single child she had in all of her bands, all of her choirs. Before any performance, she would write a love note. And literally, like, there would be 100 love notes for some theater performances, and handwritten notes to every single kid telling them, like, why she was grateful for them and why they were special. And so when I moved, she wrote me a little, like, goodbye love note and gave me a little present, and it was, like, a pack of Jesus stickers, because we had some on-running Jesus jokes. It was like movie about, I think, also Jesus. And then it was Joni Mitchell CD. And when I got my first car, which was also where I lived for a few months when I was in high school, it was the only CD I had most of when I was living in my car. And so
Joni Mitchell all day, every day.
Joni Mitchell, Clouds. And when she gave me the CD at first, it was definitely a little too, like, out there for me to really comprehend. I was like a little punk. I was just like, I don't know if I fuck with this. And then I just, again, it was the only fucking CD I had in my car. And so I started listening to it, and it's, every time I go back to that album specifically, the way that it means something new or has grown with me, it's just incredible. And that album specifically is what, like, made me just, I was like, I can't sing any song that has been written, but I also am not good enough to play Joni Mitchell, so I just have to goddamn write my own fucking songs. I don't know, it was something like that. But
it's a funny perspective on wanting to start making your own songs, yeah. Guess I have to now, darn.
It was something like that. It definitely was out of, like, spite against no one but myself. So
that's funny too, because your style is so unique and so raw that it's like, how else would you have been able to come up with it if it wasn't, you know, intrinsically part of you?
See, I feel like this is where the imposter syndrome comes from, because thank you for saying that, but, like,
it really is, yeah.
Honestly, all of the art, especially my photography, I think is a great example of this. I got a camera on a fluke, got, like, it gifted to me, had, like, was like, okay, I guess I have a camera now. I've always loved painting and found it very comforting, but it drives me nuts because it doesn't, like, happen fast enough, so I always have all these unfinished paintings. But I was like, wow, photos are so quick.
And they capture moments.
Yeah. And it was just, like, mind-blowing to me. But do I have the ability to truly download photos? No. So do all my photos, like, look a little bit subpar unless I go somewhere that I can download, which takes days? Yeah, which, like, people don't notice, but, like, from a critique point, like, sure, but then everyone was just like, I like your photography, and I was like, wow, thanks. I was just feeling a little bit too existential one day and picked up this camera I got gifted and started, and yeah, it just kind of kept happening. And that's music too, art, like, it's always just been like an outlet. Like, when I did not know what else the fuck I was going to do, because I was going to lose my mind if I didn't not even say something, not even, it's just, you know, those feelings that you feel that are so big that you don't know if your chest is going to explode or collapse, or if you're gonna rip your hair out and scream, or just fall on the floor and cry. Like, it's just, everything feels like it's crumbling down. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I've felt that in my life.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a motherfucker, and those feelings come up a lot for me. And whether it be things inside myself inducing it or things in my life, art has just always been a way for me to be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, this is a way to express that isn't harmful to me or anyone, so fuck it. And
it feels so good, and it's so healthy, man.
So
it's so
good.
Healthy.
But then to, like, have that weird little outlet that's always been, like, a personal thing for me, acknowledged as, like, hey, this is cool what you're doing. I'm like, whoa, thanks.
So let's talk a bit about your music.
Okay.
So first of all, you go by Madjon,
Yes,
musically.
I do.
Where did that come from?
Madjon actually came from way back in the day when I was like 17, 18, and I was jamming out with my friend Stella Johnson. She's another musician who plays around. I don't know if you know her, but she's pretty killer, female musician. And we had this whole thing where we just wanted to jam with any musicians we could meet, like whenever we could meet them. So we started this little Instagram called Madjon and Company. But then it just kind of fell through. We both got really busy in our individual lives. But when I Googled Madjon, because her last name's Johnson, my name is Madden now, but it was my last name at the time. the only thing that came up with Madjon was this old Small Faces song, and it was about this dude named Madjon who lived in the woods, and everyone thought he was crazy because he would sing to the birds and dance with the trees, and he was always so happy no matter how much people hated him, like, and that was why they all thought he was crazy. But he would sing with the wind, and that was just kind of Madjon, and that really resonated with me, as well as just the whole vibe of the song. So plus I actually have crippling social anxiety, and I struggle a lot with that, and so I found both, like, kind of why I go by Madden now, and kind of why I like Madjon. Madjon's like my performance name, and I kind of keep like who I am separate from my music because it is so vulnerable for me. I feel like I need to keep myself safe, so Madjon is like, you know, who takes over for that, and then Madden is just who keeps it all safe. So yeah, the Madjon stuck just because I couldn't comprehend people like saying my name. And so I was like, fuck it, if people have to listen to someone's name, might as well make it Madjon. Also, I love the Mad Hatter, and I feel like he's my main artistic inspiration, and so yeah, I just resonated.
Cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. And do you have any like music out right now on any platforms?
So I shouldn't say a dumbass because that waters it down, but I have been recording an album for like 2 years now, and I had a little bit of a addiction relapse there that put it on hold for a good 6 months, but I'm back in the studio.
Yeah.
And I'm recording The Big Black Cat, and I'm finishing it up, so I have vowed to never again say a date in which I will have music out. But hopefully this year I'll have music on platforms, and until then I've been playing gigs, and Sue Sublime, we have some stuff coming up in the year that I'll probably be playing at live. We'll see. I kind of feel selfish like hosting an event and then playing at it, so we'll see.
I used to feel like that too with like
I think that's
showing my art in events, and then I'm like, what? Why not?
Why not?
Such a stupid like, but I feel that, but then like I'm like, don't.
If anyone deserves to be up there,
Yeah.
it's the person who puts it together.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
We'll see. But hopefully I'll have music on platforms to listen to this year. Not gonna promise that, but I'm playing gig slots, so just follow my Instagram, and I'm okay at remembering to share when I have gigs. I'm getting better at it as they play. Yeah. So
So what kind of music do you play? What? How do you describe your sound?
Sorry,
it is so unique though. Like
no,
super underground.
No, it's really just like I don't fucking know. Like I'm always just like losing my mind, and I know how to play the guitar, so it's basically Amy Winehouse, Nina Simone, Janis Joplin, and Joni Mitchell are like my 4 biggest influences, and I'd like to think that you can tell by my music because it's very like folky, kind of jazzy, kind of.
I totally get that
but
from
yeah.
listening to it.
Oh, thanks.
You have like that certain like, you have a very unique voice, but it has
make
like
my eyes well up.
no,
if that
like
explains it.
Lucy,
You know,
Lucy and I were listening before you came.
I was like,
And Lucy and I both we like had
Chills.
goosebumps. Like it's like a, it's like a rasp almost, but like not like that. No, you know what I mean. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's like
I feel like so funny saying this, but I have had a bit of I've favored smoking poppers for a little too long, and I've destroyed my vocal cords. So thank you. I like to think it adds flavor, but I'm
Yeah.
trying
Gel
to
in there,
quit
you know?
soon. Yeah, I'm trying to quit soon, so the rasp stays like perfect. So, thank you, because at first I was really self-conscious of that exact thing and like my rasp, and I was like, oh my god, I smoke now, like I can't sing anymore. Also, like Vic, genuinely, it's not to shit on Vic, they have a apparently a great principal now and whatever, but Victoria School of the Arts is what I'm talking about.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. Not to call them out or anything, but when I went there, they, other than like a few teachers like Miss Nelson or a few others, they kind of beat like a lot of the creative inspiration and things out of me because of the social hierarchy that existed there. And yeah, I just was convinced I couldn't sing, couldn't do this, couldn't play. Like, I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then I met this beautiful person who I actually we lost last year. And he saw a guitar at my apartment, and he was like, what the fuck, do you play that thing? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, play it then. And he was like, sing. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, what the fuck, you can sing? And then that's when it all started. Right then and there, I started singing again, and all of them were like, you're rasp. And I was like, my rasp? Like, okay, thank you. And it, in like a year, the way that my confidence changed with me being able to call myself a musician, it was just night and day. Yeah, sorry, I have to like deflect by saying it in a little silly way, because
you're so conscious.
Yeah, but so thank you very much. That means a lot to hear. So, plus I also just met someone from Finland, and we're jamming, and I'm trying to get some hardcore stuff underway because I'm really into that. So we'll see. Madjon might be coming out with some like hardcore or some punk this year, and I'm very excited about that.
Stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned for that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, there's so many things that I can't quite talk about yet, and we're just about to like tell everyone what's happening. So yeah, all I can say is stay tuned.
I like that though. That'll keep
them on their
toes.
And how do you want people to feel when they listen to your music?
I think, forgive me for how this is going to sound at first, because I know it's going to sound a bit harsh, but I don't really give a shit how people feel as long as they're feeling something.
Totally.
And like, I know that I'm not a palatable person, whether it's artistically or in my personal life, for everyone, but I don't need to always be, and some of my music is quite uncomfortable and addresses things that maybe people don't think need to be addressed, but yeah, as long as people are feeling something, that's, I think, what matters to me. Feeling something. Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, me too. That's beautiful. That kind of goes into the question that I had, like, why do you create? And like, sometimes the answer really is that too, is like to kind of show people what's going on, show people they're not alone in the world, kind of thing too.
I feel as though I have a large responsibility in my position to acknowledge like how privileged I am to be able to create so often, because I have always, like I said, used music as an outlet to get myself through a lot, but I've also always used the fact that there are other people going through a lot more to ground myself. And so even in this past year, I like took for granted so many opportunities, and it was genuinely because of instability that I hadn't founded, because years of trauma all hit me at once, whatever. But I finally realized, because I had this stability seemingly, and I took it all for granted, like what that was. So now I think I create because, one, like I feel a responsibility to, because if people are telling me like, hey, the stuff you're doing is good, we have these opportunities for you, might as well take it, and might as well try to use it to talk about or to bring light to or do important things. So yeah, I try to always, with the things I create, like at my shows, in my music, there's heavy themes of addiction, because that's something that my entire life really has been a theme for me, and then I struggled with it a lot these past 4 years. I'm 7 months sober now, almost on the 17th.
Congrats!
So,
Wow.
thank you.
And like COVID and everything too.
Yeah, so
spin on everything.
it's been a lot, and so I always usually just address that in somewhat of a friendly way. And after I played the Fringe,
I'm so compassionate.
yeah, I actually had a mother come up to me and thank me for speaking on those topics, because her children experienced that, but it's not something that a lot of people are willing to talk about around kids. And she gave me a hug and said thank you so much for letting them know, like, they aren't the only ones experiencing that. And that, like, I felt so bad about my Fringe performance walking off that stage, but then that mother said that, and I didn't even care how I felt about the performance. It was like, that was why I did that.
Mm-hmm.
That is why. And like, then the little girl came up and told me I looked like a princess. Gave me a hug, and I started crying, and it was really beautiful. So I feel like that's why. Also, this is something that we can just drop quickly. Something I'm working on that I'm not really talking about publicly yet is around the idea of houselessness and how the city of Edmonton actually deals with houselessness. And I, based on, it's like I don't want to quote this wrong, so let me pull up my citations, actually. But Canada has like a certain thing that they follow, the Canadian definition of homelessness, or the Canadian Observatory of Homelessness, and under that there are like 4 categories of homelessness. And when I was experiencing houselessness, I was 16, and so technically, statistically, I'm not even considered in any of these because I was a minor, and that's a whole different category and sector. But if I were, I would be under either the 3rd or 4th, which is provisionally accommodated or at risk of homelessness, which means couch surfing, or like you're renting a room in a car, or you also at risk of homelessness, which a lot of people don't realize, is basically when you are living, even if you have a job, even if you have an apartment, one situation away from losing your house. So say you lost your job and your landlord was a company and they decided not to be understanding, you would be houseless. And so I fall under, like, demographically not the most serious case of houselessness, and I'm very well aware of that. And looking back on my story versus like personal things I've seen, it doesn't seem that bad. But then when I talk about the fact that I was living in my car at 16, and then I got kicked out of school and had to move into someone's kitchen pantry and all of those things, like, that sounds pretty intense. That sounds like a pretty big thing for a 16-year-old child to have to overcome. And so, yeah, I can say it definitely was, but there were a lot of things that made it a lot easier for me, like my skin color, the fact that I had a bank account already open and under my name. Once I finally turned and got like approved to be an independent minor, I actually qualified for income services because I had a bank account, which is something a lot of people can't access. And there are all these things that really, yes, I've gotten myself through a lot, but it's because of my privilege. Even my sobriety. If I were still experiencing houselessness, like living in my car, for example, while I was in the raging active addiction I experienced most recently, my most recent relapse, there would have been no way I would have ever gotten clean. There would have been no way I would be standing here where I am right now. And that is fully because of the fact that I had a roof over my head, and I had a very privileged position of having a community of people around me who stuck with me through all of the things I did in my active addiction. And so I feel like that's a big part of why I create too, is just like, man, even me who feels like I've had it pretty darn hard, apparently I've had it pretty darn fucking easy too. And so now I'm just trying to find some balance of like acknowledging my struggles but also not victimizing myself to them, and then using what I've been through to not speak on issues I can't, but help support those issues through speaking on things that I can. And so, yeah, that's a big part of why I create too.
That was such a beautiful story too. Wow, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Of course. And
I wasn't prepared for the next one. I was so involved.
Yeah. Quite a good reason to create.
yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then actually quickly I'll say, if anyone's interested, this is unrelated to art, but if you want to go check out the City of Edmonton's most current plan for the update, like city proposal, it's all based in urbanization and gentrification of the City of Edmonton, and they have one sentence where they claim, forgive me if 5 or 10 years isn't quite the right thing because I don't have it in front of me, but they claim there will be no houseless population in Edmonton in the next 10 years, and then they propose no actual plan on how to address that, and but the rest of the plan on how to develop all of these economic infrastructures and all of these businesses, all planned out. But yeah, so the City of Edmonton seems to be really prioritizing the development of economic infrastructure over the development of a true solid social safety network. And I highly recommend checking out Medicine Hat's Housing First program and how much cheaper Housing First programs are for government, whether that's at a municipal or provincial or federal level. Medicine Hat functionally has no homelessness because of their Housing First program, and there are other countries that do that too. And also highly recommend checking out and putting pressure on the provincial government for the fact that income support has not had an increase in almost 15 years now, and that an individual experiencing houselessness or experiencing joblessness usually only qualifies for about $735 a month to live off of, and that has not changed, like I said, in about 10 or 15 years. So
that is not capable to live off of. Oh, no.
And
I just moved out for the first time recently too, so just recently becoming aware of how much everything costs, groceries and all the other bills on top of everything.
Well, yes.
No.
The average rent for an apartment in Edmonton is $1,200 for a two bedroom or something. So yeah, that is all stuff that, again, it'll be coming out in a bit more of a cohesive presentation way, a lot of that information, but it's just also things that if I can drop seeds, or if people don't know about these things, helps to have people know, so that whether it's MLAs or just anything, put pressure on people for social change and social advocacy, because it's very important. It's really important to, one, when you're utilizing public systems such as our healthcare system, even the rehabilitation system in Canada, all of these things are obviously lacking in funds, in things that they need to provide people with what they need. And so I've noticed on a personal level, treating frontline workers with respect is actually a huge step in the right direction first. Nurses, staff at just basically government employed staff, social workers. I feel like a lot of times they go into those jobs thinking that they're able to make a change, and due to the current system that's being upheld and bureaucracy and just money being drained from public resources, they are worn so thin that they either grow to be jaded or just cannot keep up. And so I think first step, treat nurses and public frontline workers like they are angels and thank them every day. Second step, get involved with community grassroots effort past social media. I know that it is a really useful tool right now as far as reaching people and reposting something that is useful, but genuinely, if you look for it, it is easy to find. People with POC and Collab, the space, they do a lot of community integration with free art events and things like that. Learning about your MLA's platform, learning what your MLA is, where you are, even just tuning in to certain things. It's boring, but it's really important, and I know that you guys are talking about some of like the hardcore and like punk history and whatever, and as someone who considers themselves a bit of a punk, I guess, but feels like a fucking idiot saying that, it's like
It's like the
punkest thing you can do.
No, genuinely. And like even look into, oh my god, there's this lovely, beautiful woman named Veronica Fuentes, and she's involved with so many different things. She's always involved with different groups and different activist groups in the city. And yeah, just really from an whether it's art, whether it's, I don't know, I know there's even some like robotics like groups that are just down to like hang out and have more publicly accessible places that they can go and hang out and do their robotics. Really just start talking to your community and start looking around at what's available for you to support, I'd say. And just, I don't know, I really, with our collective, which I know we'll talk about a bit more later, but iHuman, oh my god, I haven't even talked about them yet. iHuman has changed everything for me. Incredible youth outreach organization. Have you heard of iHuman?
I have, yeah. A teacher of mine worked for them, yeah.
I could not credit them with enough. The amount they have, like, first of all, their artistic facilities, full fashion studio, indoor spray paint wall, recording studio, sound stage, like everything you can imagine. Plus then they have like lunch programs, they have donations, they have a closet where you can come get clothes if you need. They give out safe pipes and safe injection tools, and also they have naloxone kits on hand, and I have like a substance abuse support worker through them, and they connect people with social workers or whatever they need. On top of that's where I'm recording my album. That's where I did my little YouTube video where they filmed me doing a performance. That was with iHuman, and the amount of projects, and they've booked all of my gigs. It's crazy. And I also have a nurse at iHuman who I see because I find it really hard to I struggle with like a bit of agoraphobia. I don't want to call myself like an agoraphobic, but it takes me like a few hours every day to get out of my house. And so when it comes to doctor's appointments, I tend to miss them a lot. And so the nurse at iHuman is there all day, and she just waits for me. And it's so awesome. And iHuman's fucking incredible. But they, as well as Collab, are doing a really, really good job, in my opinion, at branching the gap that your financial situation creates as far as ability to pursue art in Edmonton. And I really want to just keep doing that. And so I think finding more places like that are doing things like that, supporting that, awesome. So that's kind of my whole drive and my whole motivation is just like, I have such a weird experience because I was like experiencing houselessness while going to like this weird artsy, like it's not like like I don't know, Vic is like a weird school, and so it just felt like there was a big gap between me and a lot of the other kids when it came to like, okay, you get to go home and just chill, and I'm failing out of school because I'm so worried about like the fact that my seasonal job is ending and I don't have an actual job, and I was working Kijiji cash jobs and all of this shit. 2, like I'm living in my car, so I don't really have like the ability to do all these artistic things, and like it was just this huge like difference. And now I can't even like, so take that and then add complete shelterless like homelessness, or add like even worse things than I've experienced in my life to that, like for years longer. I can't imagine like what the fuck, how you're supposed to actually realistically pursue art. But like we've all said, it is such a healthy outlet when you have those big feelings, when you have those big things, and people experiencing these things that usually have the least access to art, in my opinion, are the people who need art most and have the most to create. So, that's... I can't remember what the question was, but... waging the gap.
I know.
Yeah.
Waging the gap.
And speaking a little bit about, like, community and stuff, who are you listening to locally?
I just got Spotify for the first time for Christmas this year.
Okay.
And so I've had Spotify for, like, not even a month now. And so I feel like...
What, was it Joni Mitchell this whole time?
It's been literally a book of CDs in my car, and then I had Apple Music for like a little
man,
bit.
You want some of my CDs?
But it was... I would love. But it was just all my mother's iTunes music that she had downloaded from like 2001 to 2007. That was all the music I had access to outside of my CDs. And so I've like seen a lot of sick shows. Like there's a band Lacerator, I think it was. Hollow Point obviously always fucking kills it. Pleasurecraft I've only seen play once, and I know they were on here, but they were chill when I saw them.
They're so chill.
Dead Friends is another pretty killer band, and they also have a chick drummer, which like rock on Ellen Reed, you're fucking tight. And so they're pretty cool. Oh, this beautiful lady named Taya, she's releasing music soon, but I don't know what her artist name is. Has some of the most mind-blowing music I've ever heard, and she's just some little pretty lady working with iHuman too, and I will be promoting her on my Instagram as soon as she has music available, because I was like, what? Jaden Paz is another beautiful acoustic musician who I was connected with through iHuman as well, and he is one of the only albums that I've downloaded on Spotify. So highly recommend Jaden Paz too. And Stella Johnson's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So
big time.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Darlin. I guess I should shout that out. My friend Bryn, he's drumming for the album I'm recording probably too. We're working that out. So
cool.
That's his band, and they've been playing some gigs, and they're doing pretty well. Yeah.
Their band's name is Darlin?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't admit that I like it, because I like have this thing where I have to make fun of like the two fuckers in the band. So I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
It's alright.
It's alright.
I wouldn't choose it, but
but you can listen if you want. And
there's some really cool artists in Edmonton, like Mo, I think his name is. His energy unmatched. When I've seen him like live,
it's insane.
So much respect for that motherfucker.
Yeah.
So much respect.
Man, yeah, right? It looks like he works so hard too, and his art is so beautiful.
True.
He is talented.
We're trying to get Mo on the pod.
That would be sweet.
That'd be so
Remember,
sick.
That's like dreaming big.
I've heard really, I don't listen to music downloaded, but seeing him live was nuts, and a lot of my friends, I've heard nothing but like amazing things about his person too. Like just a respectable, stand-up, like solid dude. So yeah, I think you guys definitely
he used to work down
check
here on White Ave once, and he was like chilling out backside of his work. I think he was like serving or something, and I was just walking by, and I think I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I just like kept walking because he was in the shadows or whatever, and you know, women walking on the streets. He comes out to me and he's like, "Hey, what's up? How's it going, Lucy? Hey, nice seeing you. How you been?" Like, he is just so friendly, just like didn't care at all, just came right on over to say hi. Oh, that energy really is like, he's a good energy type of person.
At the Zenith show a couple of years ago, I think 2019 was that? Anyways, that was like the first time I ever like displayed my art at an actual like art show, and it was like super scary, because it's like standing naked in a room pretty much, and you're like,
really
here
is.
I am. And I had like just gotten out of a really, really bad relationship, and that person was like there that night, so I was like really scared, like thought I was gonna like throw up the whole time. And then Mo was singing the like energy, and it was just like such a moment of like clarity and like growth of my life. Like I was just standing there, and everyone's like jumping, and they're like, "You cannot play with my energy, it's meant for me," like screaming. And it was just like this moment of like, oh yeah, you can't play with my energy, it's meant for me, like leave. And it was just like so beautiful. And now like, oh, Mo,
yeah, uplifting music,
gorgeous,
uplifting
It
lyrics.
is beautiful, and the way that like that moment just like that
right?
wow.
Yeah, it was like, it was out of this world. That like
Have you
whole
ever told him
experience.
that story or anything? Or
I haven't. I've been trying to get Mo to come. I was trying to get him for Culmination and Transcendence, but he like wasn't in town. But hopefully soon.
Yeah, you
Be
should.
able to-
As an artist, like, if someone told me that, it would mean the world to me. So I feel like you should share that with him.
Yeah.
I think that would be really special for him to hear.
Honestly,
I'm sure
yeah.
he gets it all the time,
Yeah.
the
Sometimes
fucker, but
like on
like...
stage though, you forget a little bit that they're like people just like you
Yeah.
in a way.
Especially when they rock that much.
Yeah,
You're like, shit,
like-
you're from Edmonton?
He's gotta know he's
Right?
good, right?
It's crazy.
Should we talk about Sublime?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So, what is the Sublime Intervention Collective?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Sublime Intervention Collective, we haven't actually addressed this publicly yet, so I guess this is kind of like the first official...
Debut.
Yeah.
Wow, we're so lucky to have you.
Yeah. We are doing our social media launch next month, and that's kind of when everything will be cleared, but we are a collective of feminine identifying people who are acting as a multimedia production company with goals to help contribute in the efforts already started around the city to build a bridge between the community and art, and use art as a way to further social outreach and such. So yeah, that's kind of what we are.
Super cool.
That's gonna be so awesome. So maybe next month, once you guys like post everything on social media, people can maybe come to the account and
Yes, next month everything will start coming out on social media, and that's when dates drop. We have our first event in March, which we can't talk too much about yet, but it's a day for the divine, a celebration of femininity, and it's
I'll be there.
I'm pretty fucking excited. The way that everything with the collective, it started a year ago now and it was just an idea that was brought up, and then all of a sudden it was just a thing that was kind of happening, and then I actually disappeared for the collective. The entire time I was in active addiction, I kind of had a bit of a death wish, so I cut everyone who meant anything out of my life to me, and anyone who I felt as if it would negatively affect them if I were to leave this world. I literally like just ghosted for a good like 4 to 5 months, and the collective was like a big part of that. And then when I came back around and got sober, they opened me with welcome arms, like the lovely, beautiful humans they are. And they were all the ones, like, showing up, like, every few days, even when not every few days, but every few weeks, like, even if I wasn't answering them, just, like, bringing me pictures of, like, things important to me, or just notes, or just trying to show that they loved me, no matter, like, what I was going through. So, very, very grateful for all the ladies in the collective, too, I will say. But yeah, it started off as like an idea, and then I dipped, and then I came back, and this whole short film had been produced, and I was like, what the hell? And so now, the end of 2022, we have our short film that we've been working on for a year now, and a bit longer, debuting, and leading up to that, we have multiple different events, and every single event is themed around a different character or idea within our short film that's coming at the end of the year. And each event, I must say, if I do so myself, gets a little bit better and better every time. So I'd suggest tuning into the Sublime Instagram.
So cool.
So yeah, it's...
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm
Build up.
literally so excited. Like,
yeah, and so
following this
the
hard.
Yeah.
first event is around the call of the feminine divine, and that's why it's a celebration of femininity, an introduction to our feminine collective. And yeah, we're gonna be releasing all the info, I think, in about a month. Yeah, so
cool.
Stay
Stay
tuned.
tuned.
I'm curious, what's your job behind it all?
I am... Oh my gosh. Well, okay, we actually only have 4 like core members right now, and then everyone else stepped down to be like an artist in residence. So right now I'm kind of doing a bit of everything, which includes like event planning, curating artists and art. We're also coming out with a zine, which we can't, again, talk too much about, but that is something, that's my, like, love child, basically, and that's my little baby that I've been really, really passionate about and kind of throwing all of my energy into making it, like, really, really special and having just so many opportunities for different artists within the community to work together and collaborate from all different backgrounds or mediums, and that's my little baby. And I also am actually scoring our short film this year because we had a bit of we had very talented musicians hired to write a song for the video, but then it ended up just not working out with COVID and just with communication, and just it was a lot of things just didn't work out, and so we went
maybe it wasn't supposed to.
ways.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually scoring our short film as well, so I have a fair amount of roles with the collective.
Yeah.
And
you're working hard, buddy.
Super exciting.
you have a lot of times on your hand when you quit doing cocaine every single day.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. So
All of a sudden,
time opens up.
I'm just like, every single
Time
thing
exists.
I do, art, all of this, it's just a desperate way to escape the existential dread that I seemingly can't put off. So,
Yeah.
it's just,
Good
it's
for you.
good.
Terrific
Thank you.
escape.
But,
Best way to escape.
Yeah.
very
Feeling
excited.
that right now.
It's really, I didn't expect how, like, especially since COVID, I think, and everyone kind of just, like, not having much to do, we, like, email someone and ask them for something, and they're like, yeah, sure. Do you need this too? Or, like, we tell them an idea, and they're just like, oh my god, hell yeah. Do you want this for your idea? And the amount of doors that have just opened because
Yeah,
I just
every
got the
door's
confidence
closed.
to ask. Like,
literally how easy it is to send an email.
Truly.
Why did I think it was so hard before?
Honestly.
And then you're like, hey, I need this.
and that's it. I remember I was going to my promoter and I was like, so I love playing live. I want to do it more. How? And he was like, well, do you know people who play live? And I was like, well, yeah. And he was like, how do they do it? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like,
Smart.
maybe ask them. And I was like, fair enough. And then I started just asking. And my dumbass, like, this was right when I started writing music too, and I didn't know the dude at the aviary. He's fucking awesome, Phil. Like,
Yeah.
Phil.
I went up to him
Shout
and
out
I
to
was like,
Phil.
so, how do I get up on that stage? And he was just like, here's my card.
Yeah.
And that worked out. So, yeah, that's, I guess, if tips for any artists who struggle with imposter syndrome, get the fuck over yourself and just
Yeah.
fake it till you make it.
Oh,
and you
big
probably
time.
will.
Literally pretend.
Yeah,
That's
because
my attitude to art in general. Just make
Yeah.
something happen.
Yeah.
Anything at this point.
yeah, I had someone tell me today, and I can't talk about this too, which sounds so stupid
Oh.
coming out of my mouth, but they were like, what Madjon wants, Madjon gets. And me hearing that, I was like, wow, oh my god, I'm respected as an artist, like, what? And I was so excited, because having, like, someone's, like, I was like, wow, okay. And so, yeah, I'm just, my life
Getting
has
emotional over
changed a
here,
lot.
right? Like, I've been through that too, though, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Still going
Yes.
through it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And to think about 6 months ago, I was thinking that I could never go 24 hours with cocaine, or gonna lose my house, or lose my child, or lose this, or lose that. Like, a lot can change
Yeah.
very quickly. So,
There's hope.
wow.
Have
There's
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And how can people get involved with Sublime?
With Sublime, this is something we're actually trying to figure out how to make a little easier right now, but as far as it stands, if you follow the Sublime Instagram account, or if you follow me or Mahalia or Lydia, there are 2 other artists who are involved. We are all the time posting on our stories about, hey, we're looking for artists, or we also have a Facebook page, and that's how we cast our video. We had like a Facebook casting call, and so I'd recommend the Instagram page first, just because especially next month, that'll be kind of everything. Also, if you want to just DM me, fucking feel fucking free. Our whole goal is to kind of just have artists who have an idea for a project in mind of really any scale, whether it's a big old event or whether it's just a 2-minute clowning video. We want them to be like, hey, I have this idea. I've never done anything before, or I've done it lots, but I don't have the ability to do it. Can you guys help? And we're gonna just be like, yes, here's all of our things, here's all of our connections, and let's do it, or let's fucking work together, because this is fucking sick. And so, sick, that's, you get it, because that's the collective's name. But
oh
yeah,
God.
So, the Instagram, or DM me.
Cool. And
DMs you immediately.
Yeah.
Like, me thinking
one
right
second.
No, there's
now. To that.
actually on my story right now for our first event, we still have fills for some poets, so we're looking for some more poets, so maybe DM me. I also think we might be looking for visual artists.
Blood.
And I guess we'll talk about a bit about your photography and art for a bit.
Sure.
So I guess we kind of talked about this already, but what got you interested in taking photos the way you do? You have a very unique photography style. It's very recognizable to be yours.
Before I answer this, may I ask, you two, what do you, can you elaborate on when you say it's recognizable to be mine? What do you
Interesting.
guys
Yeah, right?
notice about, yeah.
It's I see your art, and I think, the most powerful, scariest feminine energy that I haven't quite seen in your style before.
Literally.
There's, a scariness that is, reaching into my soul in a deep, dark place of my femininity where I have rage that, illuminates it into a beautiful flower. I don't know. Is that helpful?
I am so happy I asked that question. Yes,
It's dark, it's scary, it's hot, it's sexy, it's like a mix of the warm and the cold.
They gave me, thank you so much. That means so, wow, that was a beautiful compliment.
Pure
Thank
honesty,
you.
man. It comes right from you, honestly.
Oh my
so
gosh.
thank you.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I'm all flabbergasted now. I'm that was so kind.
You put all this work into it, and you've done it on so many different
definitely is,
occasions too.
yeah.
And each time there is a similarity between each one of them that runs intrinsically through them. I can't put my finger on it, but I can try.
So, honestly, it started off with me shooting those bags over the head photos, and that was because I really wanted to get into photography. I follow all these photographers on Instagram who are really they do exaggerated character portraits on film usually, which I didn't have access to a film camera, so I was okay, how can I kind of play with that? And I just wanted to fuck with people, honestly. With my first photo shoot, I was I just want to make them be what the fuck is this? And being from Fort Mac, I hear what people in Fort Mac who used to know me say things about me all the time. And I hear the shit they say, and it's always usually oh, Madden's addicted to drugs, Madden's this, Madden's that, or it's always pretty derogatory, and they all think I'm batshit, so I was fuck it. Might as well. And plus I love the Mad Hatter, so I had 3 of my friends just be willing to let me tape
I love those
garbage
friends,
bags
hey?
to them and put bags on their head, and we went down to Mill Creek Ravine, and they just let me take photos of them. And then from there I was okay, what do I want to do next? And I followed this photographer, Peggy Shoots Film, and she's a boudoir film photographer. And I always just loved her photography so much, and really wanted to do something similar, but with a bit more of a, I don't know, sensual kind of undertone. So that's when I did the boudoir shoots, and that's when that started. And then I realized it was really fucking beautiful to give all of my female friends this way to be here's how I feel sexy, and here's how I want to explore and express my sexuality, and I'm in a safe environment to do so, and I am in full power and full control of how it is being done. And it was just beautiful to capture that, and to see how they would look at the photos and be I've never seen myself like this. And that just really was just beautiful for me. So that's kind of what the drive for boudoir became was just that, and like whatever someone wanted to feel like sexy basically, or feel empowered and be in control specifically of their sexual expression, which is something so many of us have had ripped away from us. It was really important to me, and then that kind of grew from there, just with me finding comfortability to like play around with it and being like, you know what, I want to do some things that are really my style and like show my personality. And that's like what more recently I've been working toward and like kind of playing with, is just literally they all happen at like the middle of the night, even the boudoir shoots. So they were like the middle of the night. I pull out all my furniture in my apartment and like we'll pin up random backgrounds with curtains I have, or we'll pull out random house decorations I have, and like they've all just been on a whim, like randomly with what I have.
Best.
But it's so
much
fun, and it's just been a really fun little outlet to like play around with my perspective of the world and like share it, and that like feminine energy that's just brutal and raging. I'm a little sister. I have 3 older brothers, and so I feel like my entire life, like I've always known I was smarter than my brothers, even though they're all like a decade older than me. I've always known I was more like capable. I've always known I knew they could not tell me anything, and I just always had that energy. And then as I grew older, I definitely lost a lot of that, being, you know, so just a woman in Alberta probably.
Yeah.
And so yeah, now I'm really, really trying to just embody my inner child, and my inner child's a fiery little, like, no fucking man's gonna tell me what to do.
No apologies here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I love that.
And then for me, like, I'm not always super comfortable in boudoir-esque, but like that doesn't mean I still want to have some weird like underlying like sexual power. And also like it's not for men, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't really care
what I love.
if a
Like,
man
yeah.
like looks at me in my underwear and a cowboy hat with like fringe on my face and is like, what the fuck, like why are you squatting on a toilet? Like it's not for you. Like
It's not for you.
And that, like, I couldn't care less. And so that's really why I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Like, that's how I feel in power and expression, and it being silly or whatever it wants. And also, no one having really, like, any concept of who I am as a person or being able to judge my character based on my photography. Like, you know, you might think, like, oh, she's a funky artist. But, like, you cannot say anything about me, and a lot of men probably would feel entitled to if it's a photo of me in my underwear, but you can't. And
that's
so,
what I love about them, because it's like you can tell when you look at them that if it's of you or if it's of somebody else, you can see that
it's
like
not
confidence.
to be objectified.
But it's like there's so much confidence and it just looks so badass, but at the same time it's like, I love what you said about how it's not aimed for men, you know?
Exactly.
Or like to be like, you know, that like provocative whatever, like it's like I'm half naked and I'm here and I feel hot, but this isn't for you.
Exactly.
And I love that.
I
like
just
it's
am.
so yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's like women being sexualized like by someone else is when like there's an issue, but a woman choosing how she expresses her sexuality and choosing to express said sexuality is a beautiful thing. And that's what I really like. It's almost like that's what I'm trying to do. So that's really beautiful that you guys noticed that. So I feel awesome. Great. My job's done. But
yeah, I love your photography. You want to do me sometime?
literally, it's so interesting that you say that I come across as confident in my photos, because I only realized I was hot like a month ago. And like, no, it was so funny. My manic episode ended like months ago, right? And I was in that and then one day I was still like feeling down, but I was looking at myself and I was like, wait a sec. I'm actually like fucking hot. And so now I'm on this whole kick where it's like, yeah, even if I'm depressed, even if I'm this, like, I don't really give a shit about being hot, but now I know I'm hot, so
Yeah.
might as well, like, milk it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, fucking I'm hot, but also, like, I hate being in front of the camera. And so,
Yeah.
like, I get really uncomfortable whenever I'm in there, but I'll just play, like, some really, like, sassy tunes and
Yeah.
try hard, but it is not my natural, like, state to be behind the camera, so please let me take pictures of you. I fucking hate being the subject of photos. Like, I'm hot and all, but, you know.
Yeah, definitely with the wigs and the tights and the boots and the oh
And
my
the fringe
god,
and the toilet and the hat.
the toilet. Something about being silly is so sexy too, and something
Yeah.
about being scary is just so empowering. Like
Yeah.
you're taking these interesting new ways of showing femininity that I personally do not see.
You gotta see it for yourself.
Also, yeah, I book now. Officially, I am creating like a highlight reel because I've never actually shared this. I'm so bad at the social media. I do book shoots and I do like 18 plus OnlyFans shoots, and that stuff I don't post on my Instagram. So I've been doing like boudoir shoots for people who have like NSFW stuff for like maybe 6 or 8 months now. So if anyone is looking for like a photographer for that, that is something you can book me for, or just any other kind of shoot. You can DM me or email me, and those will be in my Instagram bio this week. So
By Friday.
Right. Yeah.
Don't put a date on it, man.
The amount of I have a to-do. I have a calendar now, and I've been following my daily list.
It's empty,
Mine's
though.
like that too. The whiteboard.
Empty.
Yeah. Mine's so full. It's fucking ridiculous. But
It was
it's
a week
good.
ago. And things in January always seem to like start off slow and then kick up really fast. So here we go. Put your seatbelts on, kids. Rocket ship's taking off.
And who is your favorite visual artist locally right now?
Oh my gosh. I feel like such a fucking idiot because I don't know her name, and if anyone does, please tell me her name. She was in, I think, Next Fest or Found Fest when they had it on.
My mom
like,
went to that. Yeah.
It was in the Army and Navy building.
Yeah.
There was a synesthesia artist, and she made art based on the things she saw when she listened to different music. And I remember I didn't know, like, that's what it was when I was
do know
looking
her.
at it.
I have
but
a
it was
card
like,
somewhere.
and I got her card and I fucking dropped it. But her
She's actually kind
art,
of shy, but so nice and like
She's so
fucking kind as hell.
I was like, because I didn't know she had synesthesia, and I was like,
yeah.
that's what I see when I listen to music. And she's like, those are song lyrics. Like, I'm a synesthesia artist. And I was like, what? And then this cute little lady, we stood there talking for like 45 minutes about just like everything. She was so sweet. Her art's beautiful, but I don't know her name, and I would like to find it. And then also, what's Lydia's? Nuclear Blasts in the Moon. Highly recommend. Lydia is one of the artists in our collective, and she uses like sustainable or recycled like materials to make her art. So she does like cardboard sculptures and things, and even just how much she's improved is mind-blowing. The things she can actually pull off with cardboard. She makes masks, and she made a lot of the props for our video. It's mind-blowing, and she does commissions, so I highly recommend Nuclear Blasts in the Moon on Instagram.
Oh.
Check her out.
I wish I knew that other girl you were talking about too. I bought this cool painting of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds from her.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's
Yeah,
exactly
she did
it.
a lot of Beatles stuff too. Yeah, she's got shirts and everything.
And then Chubbs Johnson, the tattoo artist, he's my tattoo artist. He has an art account where he doesn't share his tattoos. It's my favorite art account I've ever followed, ever. Like, I think it's CSWA_art or something, but it's unreal. It's very, very, very beautiful.
Check it out. Check it
And
out.
now I'll stop. Sorry, I keep
And-
remembering more.
No, there's so many people.
Oh my god, he's amazing. I just looked him up and it's all in black and white with muscles and like freaky ass shit.
That's like my favorite style of art, and that's gonna be what a lot of my body is covered in.
That's what that looks like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it all really does. What about your
Wow.
arm?
And then I got this guy up here.
Oh, those are
wow.
awesome.
You guys can't see this right now, but they're awesome.
Yeah, Chubbs is fucking nuts, and he has a tattoo shop with his brother, And actually, this might be, I struggle with tics, and he's been one of the most accommodating tattoo artists around, like, my tics that I've ever experienced. And him and his brother, the environment, super chill. Even when I've had to, like, have some parts exposed, like, he always makes sure it's comfortable and that, like, I'm comfortable. And he's just awesome, friendly, amazing guy, always looking to support local artists too. He literally was like, we're already gonna buy a copy of your zine, put us down. And, like, he was the first, like, person to buy our zine, so it's a pretty big,
I'll be the second.
pretty good dude. Love Chubbs. Go get a tattoo from him.
Well, what shop does he work at? Is he at down here on White?
Wayward Brothers.
Wayward Brothers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he owns it with his brother Mike. I just love that dude, and I feel like I need to plug him in there. If people are listening, it'll probably
You're looking
be
to get a
the artsy
tattoo.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hit up
Well,
Chubbs.
like,
He's a
yeah.
good dude.
And Lucy, who's your favorite artist locally right now?
Brooke is actually getting back into her art, and she's selling a lot of stuff right now
Oh, is
as
she?
well. So, what's her Instagram? Is it just?
I think it's BJ Art. We'll tag it.
Yeah, we'll take
Oh,
it.
sure.
But anyways, yeah, Brooke is making some really cool art. What she did recently was really awesome. She took a skateboard and she she used one of those heat pens to like burn in a bunch of mushrooms and stuff. So that's kind of her thing. She likes to burn and she likes mushrooms and skulls and deadly stuff. So check her out if you like deadly.
Fuck yeah.
And
And how about you, Grace?
well, obviously Madden.
Yeah, right.
Here. Triple threat: artist, musician, photographer, etc. I feel like there's more. Lydia's pretty cool too. I haven't mentioned her yet. Yeah.
Who was that artist who you had at your metal show, and she does like all the metal vinyls?
Hannah McMillan.
Oh,
yeah.
all of it. Oh, actually, 1000 Calzones, the motherfucker with the mohawk. They're
Yeah.
a pretty sick local artist too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
can't remember.
I think their name's Cal, maybe? I don't know. They were in
Is
our
it-
music video too,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
And I'm so sorry I don't remember your name right now. You're so kind. But they're pretty fucking cool artists too.
Those were cool photos too.
Oh, I was so
We've
stoked.
got Lacerator like laying on the stage,
The
like
one too
fuck.
of I think it was the drummer from I don't know what band, but he was holding the like sticks
Lacerator!
up like
Yeah.
this, and he had his tongue out, and it looked like he had horns with his
Yeah.
tongue out, and I was like, oh my
Eating it
god,
up.
that's
Yeah.
such a cool photo. Yeah, I was stoked on those.
That's so tight.
super cool.
Also, thank you for those opportunities. Also,
thanks for
'cause
doing
that was
them.
awesome. So
Yeah,
Fuck
thank you.
you.
110% Grace.
yeah.
Those are fun. And I guess one event that we can talk about is February 26th. You'll be able to see Madden at the Aviary at the show that does not have a name yet.
Working title.
So, yeah, working title, untitled, self-titled.
So many to
We'll
be
see.
announced.
But, yeah.
It's so exciting though. It's like,
but it's like so
wait up, guys.
scary right now because it's like there's supposed to be threefold on January 8th, but we had to cancel, and so it's rebooked for February 12th, and I'm just like hoping
cross my
that
fingers.
It works.
Omicron will chill out for
Maybe not in
a
Alberta though,
while.
man. Like, we're
oh
doomed.
my god, it's insane, but here we are, guys. Stay safe out there.
All of our events are on like a bit of a flexible like date right now because it's like we have no fucking idea if people are even going to be allowed to gather for an
Or
event.
be comfortable with it. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So fingers
Fingers
crossed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stay
jeez.
safe out there, guys.
Especially with all the work.
Do you have anyone else booked for that event in February?
Yes. Kaylee Jade. I'm not sure if you've seen her before. She's like super cool, kind of like indie folk pop kind of artist. She's performing. She's like a single release party kind of thing happening, and then Pleasurecraft, Hollow Point, and Lacerator.
Nice.
So-
Nah,
and you.
fucking awesome.
And then we've got Lucy's art and Hannah McMillan's art, and then my good friend Willa, who just moved to Edmonton, is showing her art, and it's like really, I guess shout out Willa for artist too. It's really, really interesting. And then my friend Jess is showing a couple paintings. Oh, and Matt's sharing poetry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's
That
newly
sounds
making
like-
poetry too.
He's
So
really making poetry, and it's
That's fun.
really neat stuff. So he's going to be showing poetry, and he's making an art piece with each poem, and so...
Honestly, I fuck with those like multidisciplinary events so hard because I feel like everyone can come like for as long as they want or like when what they're interested in is in playing, and like I don't know, as someone who's always around for the last shows and when the mosh pit, it's like anyone who doesn't want to be around for the mosh tends to like fuck off, and then you know it's everyone.
It's the
who's
real
there for the
party.
mosh, and I always wish I was a better visual artist because, like, even the painting I posted last,
A hand?
yeah,
That's cool.
I painted that as like a grave marker for someone. I witnessed I didn't witness the homicide. I just witnessed the guy die after the homicide, and it was because the cops let him bleed out and die. And so he would have lived had like the cops just... Oh, this is actually something very useful. If you ever experience someone overdosing or witness an overdose or a violent crime, do not tell 911 that it was a violent crime unless like there's still a gun there, unless you're still being threatened. Tell them that the person is bleeding or that the person is unconscious. Do not mention like
Violence,
overdose or violence, because the police will be sent first, and the police are the ones who have to contact the ambulance. And so that is why this man died. And I had like a really intense dream one night where I was like, I don't know his name, and he was there, and I was like, I was the one who held pressure to the guy.
Oh my
And
God.
so
gosh.
yeah, I like cut off his shirt with my friend Sai while they were on the phone with 911, and I happened to have like my camping bag, so I had my medic kit, so we were holding pressure to the dude. And then in my dream, he like woke up and he was like, if you can say my name, I'll live. But I never got to know his name. And so he like died in the dream. And then I woke up and I had blood all over my hands.
Oh my God.
And I was like freaking out because I have like PTSD or whatever, but I've never had it be that visceral, and I was like shaking and I couldn't touch anything because the blood was all over my hands. And then I started crying, and my tears, like the heat of like the warm liquid, I thought was blood. And so I was having blood all in my eyes, and the more that the tears dropped, the more blood got everywhere, and I couldn't wipe my face because it was bloody. So when I painted that, I actually didn't have any of the red on the painting, and I was painting it through my tears because nothing else that I had worked on in therapy, like breathing, anything, like it was not fucking working. And it was like I was so worked up and nothing could get through. I was like, okay, I guess I have to paint what I see. And then I only shared that because I don't usually share my visual art, because it was kind of like, okay, you know what, it has to mean something, like someone, even if I don't know his name, like it has to have a thing. So I have the painting that I did plus like a little shrine honored to the dude like up at my altar, like right by my bed where I sleep every night. And then that post, I turned the comments off and I just like posted it to almost like mark a little like honorarium to him since I didn't know his name. But that's like what visual art is for me. It's like when I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck else I'm gonna do and I have to do something. So I wish so badly I was like actually talented or like actually capable with visual art, but I'll stick to my weird little whenever I can. Rest in peace to that man.
I don't have any tears left to cry.
No more tears. Sorry.
She's a musician.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. Sorry. Sorry,
the music just overcame me there. Oh my god.
Oh, that's funny. Well, that was pretty much all the questions we had. And we're all done for the most part. So thanks so much for coming over. Thanks for chatting with us, sharing all your little secrets and
so
tidbits.
much for coming on the pod.
Thank you so very much for having me. I hope I said some things. Well, I definitely did. Anyways.
Thank you for saying what you did,
Thank you
too.
for saying what you did.
Especially when it comes to all that homeless stuff you were talking about, and like all of the things that people can do in order to, you know, enact some change. Like that is so precious for information on this podcast. So thank you.
I'm actually going to prepare now some resources, and I'll have a highlights reel that I'll start with different places you can get like naloxone kits and things like that, because I didn't realize that wasn't like general information. So
Surprised me too, right? Like
yeah. So thank you guys for giving me a place to talk about that, and thank you for listening. Oh my gosh.
Everyone give Madden a follow, and Sublime, and
It's
everyone that we tag.
mad.denlewis on Instagram, and Sublime is _intervention_collective on Instagram. I probably should mention that.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So,
well, thanks so much for listening, guys, and we will see you next
week. Bye.